12 jurors sentenced Donald Smith to death for the brutal rape and murder of Cherish Perrywinkle in Jacksonville. Now, for the first time, we're hearing from one of those jurors.
Our Ann Schindler sat down with Juror 18 to talk about the lingering impacts of this emotional case.
His demeanor during the whole trial was kind of odd to me, that he'd wink at the camera or he'd glare, not glare back, but he just kind of would stare at us. Kind of made me kind of funny feeling inside that he acted the way he did.
Paul Hinson is still processing a mix of emotions from the Donald Smith trial.
And a lot of people said, I couldn't have done it, that I couldn't have done it or I wouldn't have done it.
He's haunted by the evidence photos.
The pictures themselves are graphic enough, but when you have a medical examiner telling you exactly the torture and the pain inflicted on her for who knows how long, nobody should have to go through that.
You can see that they've been impacted.
State Attorney Melissa Nelson warned jurors the trial would change them.
They don't plan or ask to see these things, and I knew how it had affected me, and I've seen these things. So we wanted to prepare them for what they were about to see.
There should be some resources.
Criminal defense attorney Curtis Fallgatter says jurors in this case saw some uniquely disturbing evidence.
If they've been harmed emotionally, psychologically, by having to participate in a horrific trial, there ought to be some mechanism to get them some assistance.
Right now, there are no resources like that. Hinson says he's trying to move ahead, but admits he experiences almost daily flashbacks.
A white van, or you see somebody walking down the road that's, with a kid, you're going to look twice. Could that be the next Donald Smith?
Donald Smith is responsible for the crime, Hinson says, but others share blame for the tragedy.
I mean, the mother had responsibilities, Cherish had responsibilities, the state had responsibilities of letting it get this far.
As for testimony about Donald Smith's brain abnormalities, Hinson is unpersuaded.
They said he did have brain damage, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't, I don't know, to use it as an excuse is kind of reaching.
When they first went into deliberations, however, about 4 jurors were leaning towards a life sentence.
A couple people were on the fence line of saying, life in prison.
And that the aggravating factors outweigh the mitigating circumstances.
After some discussion, he says, the verdict was unanimous.
We, the jury, unanimously find that the defendant, Donald James Smith, should be sentenced to death.
There's sick people in the world, and that's why they have the death penalty, because they don't need to be on this planet anymore. If this case didn't warrant the death penalty, then what does?